Hi everyone, this is James from Barbechoo.com, and today we're doing a butterflied leg of lamb with a Moroccan couscous. Welcome back to another cook on the channel, and today is going to be a good one. So we're doing a butterflied leg of lamb. So we're going to butterfly that leg out and we're going to make our own ras el hanout seasoning. Ras el hanout. We'll go ras el hanout. Some things are really hard to say in a Northern Ireland accent. Anyway, we'll get that butterflied out. We're going to sear it on both sides and then move it to the indirect side just to finish it off so we get nice pink lamb. And then while that lamb's resting, we're going to make a Moroccan style couscous. So couscous is really easy to make, there's not a lot of flavour in it, so we're going to pack it full of veg and we're going to use some of that ras el hanout seasoning in it as well, and a few other little things that are just going to make it burst with flavour. So before we go any further, you want to set up the barbecue. Today we're using a 50-50 split. I'm doing this on my Weber kettle. So one half of the charcoal grate with charcoal, the other half without, and put a drip tray in there. So we're going to sear over that one half with the coals and then move it to the indirect side over that drip tray. So I've lit about 3/4 of a chimney starter of lumpwood charcoal, and that should give me a nice medium to high direct heat. So I've used a whole bone-in leg of lamb for this and then just deboned it myself and took the shank off. You can get your butcher to do it, or I can leave a link below for a video from Scott Ray, which is the method I used. He does a much better job of showing you how to do it than I do. But basically you just remove the kneecap, then scrape the tendons away from each end of that main femur ball joint, and then just twist the bone and pull it out. It's the cleanest way of getting a leg of lamb deboned that I've seen, so link in the description for that video if you want to check it out. Then it's only a matter of flattening it out, and those larger chunks then putting cuts into them to make sure the whole thing is a nice even thickness the whole way across. As far as the seasoning goes, then you can buy ras el hanout seasoning, but it's quite easy to make at home. There's nothing in it that's too adventurous, so you've probably got all the ingredients for it in your cupboard. There's no one single recipe for ras el hanout. It's a mix of spices, and some people will blend loads and loads of spices together, and some of them are quite simple. This one's quite a simple one today, so we'll stick up a little graphic here to show you everything that's in it. But basically I have roasted some cumin and coriander seeds just in a dry frying pan over a nice low heat, just to toast them, and then put them into a pestle and mortar and grind them down into a fine powder. As far as other spices go, then we have turmeric, cinnamon, ground ginger, a little bit of cayenne pepper in there for some heat, ground cloves, nutmeg and smoked paprika. So after you have ground up your cumin seeds and your coriander seeds, you can add the rest of the ingredients in to the pestle and mortar. And once that's in, just give it all a mix together. The nice thing about ras el hanout is the colour. It's a nice orange, sort of nearly Moroccan colour. It's sort of what you would expect whenever you think of Morocco. So once that's all mixed together, then we can go ahead and get it onto the lamb. So here's our butterflied leg of lamb. It's pretty nice even thickness all the way across, but there are a few bits that are thicker. They'll be nice and pink in the centre, so the thinner bits will do for people who like it a little bit more well done. So we're just going to start taking our seasoning. This is quite a strong spice, so we don't need to go too overboard. Just open up any of them slashes you've made to butterfly it out. And get the seasoning down in there. So whenever you're adding in your seasoning, you want to keep some behind. We're going to use that in the couscous, but the measurements should be more than enough to give you enough to do your lamb and the couscous. So we're going to sear this on both sides first and then move it to the indirect side. The sear will create a nice crust on the outside and help lock in all those juices, and then we'll move it to the indirect side just to bring it up to our final temperature. So I want to lift this off at around 60 degrees Celsius internal. That should still give us sort of nice blushing pink lamb. So let's get it on for that first sear. So after that lamb has had 3 or 4 minutes on each side to sear, we need to move that to the indirect side. So this is still quite a thick cut, so if we stick it with the Thermapen, we're still only reading around 38 degrees Celsius. As I said, we want to take that up to 60, so we've got a good colour on all sides of it now. That fat's starting to render down a little bit, so now we're going to move it over to the indirect side, so it is sitting over that drip tray, so that'll catch all our drips. Close the lid, place your barbecue vent over the food. That's just going to continue to cook then, and we're going to check it with the Thermapen again and see once it hits 60 degrees C, we're going to lift it off and let it rest. Okay, so while the lamb's coming up to temperature, we might as well go over some of the ingredients for the couscous. There's some nice flavours in this. We're going to put that Ras El Hanout seasoning back into it again, but I've also chopped up some veg here. So we've got 1 red pepper, 1 green pepper, 1 red onion, and then there's some garlic and chilli in there as well. We're also adding then chickpeas. So I've cold smoked these chickpeas. Got the idea off Love to Barbecue, so he smoked his to make hummus with them. But these here, they're already cooked, and I've just smoked them with a little bit of pear wood. We're going to mix them in through the couscous. I've also got then some pine nuts, just to give a little bit of texture to it. I don't want everything being too soft in there. So we're going to make this up. It's pretty quick to make, so we can really do it while the lamb is resting. But the first thing I want to do is to get a skillet, and I'm going to add a little bit of chili oil to this, and we're going to get it on over them direct coals just to start preheating while our lamb is finishing off. So I'll place that over the coals, get that preheating, and then we'll check on the lamb again and see what temperature we're sitting at. Oil in our pan is nice and hot. We can go in with our veggies, start to soften them down. So for the couscous itself, there's not a lot to prepare. I have just the dry couscous here in a large bowl, and then we're going to go in with vegetable stock just to cover it, so it's set the vegetable stock level sitting just above the couscous, and then we're just going to leave that be. So we're just going to cover that with cling film, leave it be, and that'll soak up all that veg stock, and then we're going to add all our veg and stuff into it. So once your veg have all nicely softened down, then we can go in with the chickpeas and the pine nuts, give that a mix about just to warm them through really, and then we're going to season that with some of our Ras El Hanout seasoning. Alright, I think it's time to start putting all this together, and then we're going to carve into that lamb and see how we've done with it. Okay, by the time your veg cook, your couscous should have soaked up all that veg stock. You can get in with your hands and just break it all up. It'll probably be quite stodgy in the bottom of the thing, but you just rough it between your fingers and it splits them all up into them little individual grains. Now we're going to go in with our veg. Just scrape all them veg in there. Your chickpeas and pine nuts and that seasoning as well, and just mix it all through with a fork to mix it together. So that's what you want, nice and fluffy, sort of falls apart. If you do find any hard lumps in it, it's just a matter of rubbing them between your fingers and they will come apart. And calling that done, we'll go and get the lamb sorted out now and get it carved up, and then we're going to give it all a taste together. Our lamb has been well rested, so let's carve into it and see how it's done. These centre parts here are maybe slightly more well done. So slightly blushing pink there, but it is moist as anything. Lovely and juicy. Move this out of the way and look at these slightly thicker parts. It's a nice blushing pink in the middle. It's exactly how we like it, and it's so juicy. That's the best thing about cooking lamb this way. You get those parts, now these are more well done, but they're still so nice and juicy. Still nice and tender, and then these parts here for the people that like it a little bit more rare. So they're just blushing pink in the middle. Right, I think we need to serve up now. It's time to give it a try. Been looking forward to this. You smell the seasoning off it. There's that really strong lamb smell as well. It's good. Try a bit of that couscous. Interested to see if the chickpeas. I'll try one that's on here just to see what the cold smoking does to them. You really can. I wasn't sure once they were mixed in with everything else where you'd really taste the smoke off them there, but I got a hint of it. That's why I wanted to try it on its own. And you can definitely get that sort of light smoky flavour off them. Couscous is really good. If you do like heat, I would definitely add a little bit more of the cayenne to the ras el hanout seasoning. There's the mildest little kick of it there, but there's not much. And there is fresh chilli in that couscous as well, so every now and again you get a little pop of that. But again, I took the seeds out. If you want more heat, leave the seeds in. And that lamb's cooked to perfection. Again, that's all down to the Thermapen and taking a temperature rather than cooking to feel or time. There's too many variables to rely on a specific cook time. So the Thermapen let me know whenever it was perfect in the middle and I can lift it off, and that's why it stayed nice and pink in the middle, just how I like it. So thanks again to Thermapen for sponsoring the video. The recipe for this, for the couscous and the ras el hanout seasoning, etc., and all the method for this is on the Thermapen website, so I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to go and check that out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.